Hey everybody, today I'm going to be doing my review of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which is the newest Indiana Jones 5, if you will. I took a while to see this. I wanted to see it in theaters months ago, but I decided against it only because it was getting such horrible reviews. I wanted to see it. I kept hoping it wasn't as bad as they were saying, and I wanted to go see a movie. There hadn't been much out, and but then just how long it was and how bad of reviews, I decided, you know what, I'll wait till it comes out on digital, which it did just a couple days back, and I purchased it. Didn't rent it, but I actually bought it because I've noticed sometimes with some of these type of movies that even though they're bad, I like to rewatch them later on. I don't mind bad movies as long as they have some rewatchability. Um, like for instance, the last Indiana Jones, like the really bad one, the Crystal Skulls. It's a really bad movie, but at the same time, it has a lot of rewatchability just because it's like kind of like funny bad. There's a lot of funny parts that are like, why would they do this? And I've watched it a few times. It's kind of it's one of those bad movies that you can rewatch. This Indiana Jones, I don't think it's that type of movie. I don't think it's like bad that in a way that you can rewatch it and kind of laugh and stuff. I think that it's too long for that, and it's kind of, I don't know, but you know what? At the same time, I'm gonna say that the negative reviews this was getting, like the really bad one-star reviews, I think are definitely way too low. I think this is not. It's not as bad as people were saying it was going to be, really, to tell you the truth. I'm not saying it's a good movie. It certainly wasn't like it wasn't great. I'll probably rewatch it again and give it another shot. But it wasn't great, but it was not horrible either. Surprisingly, I was pretty shocked to say that because I'm not a big fan of the Phoebe Waller-Bridges and just the character she plays with like the. But I have to admit, she actually has. She can act. This is the first movie that I've kind of really seen her in, other than just kind of like what I've been told and like the character she usually plays. So I have to admit that she has a lot of talent. Like she can act for sure. Um, the kind of character that they put her in like a movie like this, where she's the smart female and the because nobody really wants to see Harrison Ford broken down like this as an old man. And I have to admit that him in this movie was actually pretty bad because almost every scene he was just doing this kind of angry old man bit that was like he never really lightened up or smiled or like that. Just the whole bit, the whole tone of the entire movie. You can see it in this trailer. He's not smiling. He's just, and it's not the way that Indiana Jones really was in like the first couple movies, which why we grew to love him was because he was like a happy-go-lucky kind of guy, and this movie just kind of it doesn't really do that. Like it doesn't do justice to the character for Indiana. A lot of the visual stuff was pretty cool. See this train part here. This train part, it looked cool, but I heard a lot of people say that like the when he was young and like they made him young with the editing and stuff, and it did look kind of cool. But when they were on the train and they were like walking on top of the train in a windstorm and a thunderstorm, and their hair is like not moving or anything. It looked like really kind of fake. I have to be honest about that. This scene here where they were jumping around from the cars went on way too long, but it was kind of visually it was kind of cool. It reminded me of like a Jurassic Park type chase scene. That's kind of what it looked like there. It was actually kind of cool. It was way too long. It wasn't like great or anything, but visually, I guess it was kind of cool. But the first scene on the train, that went on really long, and it didn't really. There's a lot of parts where I was kind of looking at it like this looks really fake when they're standing on top of the train and just fighting, and like they're just standing still even though the wind's blowing like 1,000 miles. Like it just didn't really look right. Um, Overall, the story is not really great. It's kind of it's so. I like this aspect because I'm interested in this anti-Kithrin mechanism. I actually learned a bit about that years ago, so I know that this is it's kind of an interesting topic they kind of went for here. Like at least it's something cool. They were this female character at the start, the with the afro. I found her a bit kind of off-putting. I don't know. I just didn't really. This guy, he wasn't very good either. He had like a really bad accent, and it just I don't know. Like this chase scene in the subway was They put a lot. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Is like CGI. It's almost like they almost could have made this movie like a what's that, like Polar Express type movie. Like they might as well have just made it a total 100% CGI movie, because, or like a digital movie, like a Pixar type movie, because there's so much CGI in it that at the set, so, see, like at some point it's just like it's almost all CGI, and it's not really real, And I noticed a lot of that, and just there's nothing like redeeming about the story. The story wasn't really redeeming. This is an old throwback character, and also Antonio Banderas was in it for like 30 seconds, which was very odd. Like I was like, oh, there's Antonio Banderas. I remember someone mentioned that, but he's only in it for like very brief little. It's very odd that he even showed up to do this movie. I don't know why he was in it for such a short. I think they maybe cut some of his parts out because this has already gotten so long. They probably had to cut a bunch out just to get it down to how long it really was even. Um, Overall, I'm gonna say my review on this is actually, I'm gonna give it a mediocre 5 out of 10. It's not good, it's not bad, it's somewhere in the middle. It's not as bad as people said it was gonna be. I didn't like to hear a lot of the stuff that was going on with like the people were saying that the Phoebe Waller-Bridges character was very like kind of anti-male, anti-indie, and she was just all in it for herself, and they didn't know where to go with the character, and there was a lot of that at the start, but I guess at the end there was a character arc where she kind of redeemed herself, and she showed that she did have kind of a heart at the end and stuff, which was kind of, like, I mean, they at least they did that, but it wasn't as bad as people said. I think a lot of people had to do with a lot of the politics, which is understandable because Disney's ruined a lot of these um, beloved films with Star Wars and stuff like that. So don't get me wrong, I know where you're coming from, but I don't think that it was as warranted as what I had read and heard. Yeah, I think this movie is better than what we thought it was going to be, but that still doesn't mean it's great. Like of course, 1, 2, and 3 were the best. They were amazing movies. Like when I was a kid, Temple of Doom was actually one of my favorite movies. I rented it so many times. So I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan. Last Crusade was awesome too. I didn't even really Raiders of the Lost Ark is now that I've rewatched it as an adult. It's really a really good movie, but I never saw it when I was a kid. I think Temple of Doom was the first one I saw, and I really love Temple of Doom. But um, a lot of people always thought Temple of Doom was like the bad one, but I actually found it was pretty dark, but it was definitely pretty interesting. And Last Crusade was obviously amazing as well, but Raiders was really good looking back now and rewatching it and stuff. It's really has a lot of cool aspects about the what's that the thing that they were sorry, I've lost my train of thought right here. The radio that for talking to God. It's the Ark of the Covenant. Sorry, and I found that to be pretty interesting. Like there's a lot of historical things they mention in these movies, which keeps it pretty cool. And there was a cool ending. I don't want to spoil the ending for you, but there was a cool callback at the end there with a character that he has had some that has been in the previous movies, and it was kind of cheesy, but it was still they did a good job to try to end it on like a touching note. So overall, yeah, I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 10. It's not great. It's not horrible. It's a movie that probably maybe they probably shouldn't have made it as long, so that kids and teens can enjoy it without getting bored. But there was a lot of action-packed stuff. It looked kind of cool on screen, but story wasn't too great. And it sucked to see Indy in that. You don't want to see Indy as this old man that's beaten down like this and angry and grumpy, and that was a little bit bad. But there's some interesting parts too. So I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. It's not as bad as what people were saying. It's also not really something I'd recommend either, but there's some cool visuals. It's worth checking out. So thanks again for checking out my review, and please like and subscribe, and I try to respond to any comments that come out there, and not just in a way where I'm just saying thank you for the reply. Like I'm going to really try to if you leave your opinion on the movie, I'm going to try to really engage you with that comment, and try to start a conversation about what you thought about the movie and what you thought that may have differed from what I thought. So yeah, comment, like and subscribe, and thank you very much for checking out the video, everybody. Bye.